Before this video starts, if you enjoy this video, there are many more like it already on the channel, with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload 6 days a week on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent basketball talk, this is the place for it. Also, drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second. It makes a massive difference. Today, I was initially planning on dropping a video on the 76ers that's already done in terms of the script and everything. I just have to put the video together, but I decided I would do my unscripted video of the week early after the shit that Luka Doncic did in Game 4 versus the Clippers. I just have to talk about this guy, and I need to talk about him as fast as possible. Real quick though, if you haven't yet, I did post a video yesterday that was a time-lapse of me drawing Kobe for Kobe Day, which was 8/24. If you're interested in that type of video, go check it out. It did not perform well, which I anticipated. That's not the content that I normally put out, but I'd like to see some more eyes get put on it. So Luka Doncic in Game 4 versus the Clippers had a 43, 17, and 13 game where he shot well from the field and hit a game winner over Reggie Jackson. Now, it was fucking stupid that Reggie Jackson was in the game in the first place, but still a crazy shot, and he dominated that entire damn game without Kristaps Porzingis in there for that matter. So the question that I wanted to propose was, how soon is Luka going to be the best player in the league? Because I honestly don't think it's that far from now. I don't know that it's a couple months from now. Like, I genuinely think Luka Doncic is going to be in that conversation by the time these playoffs are over, by the time his playoff run is over, because this is just fucking ridiculous. And I don't know that we've ever seen somebody be as good in the playoffs as Luka has been, at least in terms of just pure box score stuff, but also dominating games and taking over games. Like, I tweeted out the other day, like, this guy Luka plays like I do in my career. He has to have an 80% usage rate at this point. Like, everything the Mavs do runs through Luka Doncic, and that shows in the box score. It also shows in his turnovers, but that's kind of the negative you take with the whole lot of good that you get with Luka. So for the conversation of best player in the league, well, to me, there are like 5, maybe even 6 players that are in that conversation with everybody healthy. LeBron James, Giannis, Kawhi, Steph, Kevin Durant, James Harden, and maybe Anthony Davis. And I think I'm going to have to add Luka into that maybe conversation, and probably even put him over Anthony Davis and put him in that conversation just in general. I had Luka as the 8th best player in the league, I believe, just because those other guys exist, but I don't know if he's worse than some of those guys that I mentioned, like, genuinely. And the thing is, you could argue that I'm rushing this conversation, but if anything, I feel like the conversation around how good Luka really is has been stunted just based off of the precedent of the past, which is that sometimes people just want to wait on these guys, but Luka's not waiting for anybody. Imagine saying that LeBron James is not in the best player in the league conversation in his 2nd year just because he hasn't been doing it that long. Like, come on, guys. We know how good he is. This is just what he is. This is not some fluke. I saw some guy the other day say, he's not going to be this good in like 2 or 3 years. Like, you're right. He's going to be a lot fucking better, because that tends to be how that works. And based on the jump he made from his rookie year to his sophomore year, it's only going to go up from here. Now, Luka Doncic is far from a flawless player. Although, well, actually, he's not that far. He's pretty fucking close now that I think about it. I don't know why I use it like that. Like, there's a defense thing, which we'll talk about in a second, and then also his three-point shooting is a bit of a problem area, but it also really isn't. Basically, Luka has to create like 80% of his threes on his own, which in the modern NBA is becoming more and more common. However, it's also a problem area in terms of his efficiency. Luka is a good shooter. He's not a great one, but he's taking a lot of threes in the way that only a great three-point shooter should be taking them. Like, Luka is very similar to James Harden in how he shoots his three-pointers. Whole lot of step backs, whole lot of things out of the pick and roll. Actually, James doesn't really do it out of the pick and roll, but like a lot of pull-up type threes, and his actual three-point percentage is like 32-33% as a result of this. James Harden, he's more around 37-38, despite the fact that he's shooting 13 threes a game, with most of them coming off of the dribble. So James Harden is a great three-point shooter, shooting threes like he is a great three-point shooter. And a side note about that, I'm very annoyed with people saying that Ben McLemore is the best shooter on the Rockets. He's the best shooter on the Rockets that's not James Harden. Like, I feel like James Harden gets shafted in the best three-point shooters in the league conversation way too much because he's in that conversation. Like, there's more to it than just pure percentage, because there's a context to percentage based on attempts that are assisted versus those that are not. But that's a whole nother conversation. But it does apply to Luka Doncic, because I believe if he plays on a team that has another playmaker out there, he's going to be a much better statistically three-point shooter. Like, he could get to 37-38% in like 9 attempts if of those 9 attempts, like 4 of them are catch and shoots, which I think is reasonable if you get a guy on this team that can create his own shot. So far, it's really only Luka and Porzingis that can create his own shot, but Porzingis is obviously not a playmaker. So Luka is the lead ball handler pretty much all the time that he's on the court. I honestly marvel at the fact when I see him take a catch and shoot jump shot. It's like, yay, he's got one of those. And I know his percentage on catch and shoots are not amazing, but that would improve with more of them. I'm very confident in that. Catch and shoots are easier than step backs. That's just how that is. So that's the three-point shot problem. Also not a great free throw shooter, and I honestly think that's just going to be a thing with him. Like, I think it's going to be similar to LeBron James at the free throw line, which is an unfortunate thing, but it's also like fine. He still gets to the line a shit ton and is still a net positive when he's at the free throw line. So I don't know. Take what you can get. It's obviously bad to leave points at the line, but it is what it is. Now, defensively, I think Luka gets too much shit for his defense because he's honestly not a bad defensive player. Like, really at all. He's pretty much just a little bit below average. Like, bad is bad, not below average. Below average is below average. Like, Luka is not someone who's going to be stopping any big players. Like, I've seen people credit him for shutting down Paul George, but no, Paul George has shut himself down quite a lot. Like, that's not on anybody but him. And I'm going to have a video on Paul George later this week because Jesus fucking Christ, Paul George. But defensively, Luka is a big body. I'm pretty sure he has a decent wingspan and he has a pretty high IQ. It's just his effort is lacking. He's not that fast, so his ability to switch is not amazing. And he's not great against really physical players. So yeah, he's not amazing defensively, but I don't like that people act like he's just some fucking black hole on defense and he just might as well not even play it, because Luka's not horrible defensively. So if we can bring this back to the conversation of best players in the league, with those being his really only 2 flaws, let's now compare him to some of the best players in the league. So going up from where I ranked these players roughly in my head, I might have switched it up a little bit since then, but for the case for him over Anthony Davis, well, he's just a lot better of an offensive player than Anthony Davis. Like, he puts up more points per game on the same, if not better efficiency, and then he's also a phenomenal playmaker. Like, phenomenal. And then rebounding wise, positionally, Anthony Davis is a good rebounder for a power forward. Luka Doncic is a ridiculous rebounder for whatever position he is. And the fact that he's shooting as many threes as he is, even if his percentage is not amazing, it's not much worse than Anthony Davis's on way less attempts. So on the offensive end, Luka wins that one pretty damn handily. Defensively, yeah, there's a pretty significant gap, but honestly, just from the positions alone, I'm going to choose Luka over Anthony Davis. And I'm not talking about 5 years from now or who I'm starting a franchise with, because that conversation can be shifted to Luka because he's just way younger. But just who I'd want from a game-to-game basis, I'm going Luka over Anthony Davis. And that's not where I put him in my top 50, but my mind has been changed. And honestly, I wasn't that happy with my top 50 like 2 days after it went out, because I changed my mind a lot. Then for James Harden, there's pretty much a case to be made that Luka is just a more consistent, less likely to have a really shitty game James Harden. Like, yeah, I put James Harden over Luka, but I don't know. I think that one's pretty close. Like, I think they're about the same defensively. James Harden is a better defender just in general, but the effort thing is a common thing with both of them. Although James Harden doesn't have any problems with size, Luka sometimes does. So I think that one's close. Then if we're going up to Steph, I think Steph is a little bit better of an offensive player than Luka if we're looking at like a year or two after 2016 Steph. 2016 Steph was the best player in the league, so obviously that's better, but I don't know if Steph is 2016 Steph anymore. We haven't seen him be that yet. I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibility. It just hasn't happened. Kevin Durant, honestly going to have to see what he is after his injury. If he's the Kevin Durant of old, like what he was before he got hurt, then no, Luka's not better. And then if we're getting in the conversation of LeBron, Giannis, and Kawhi, I don't know. LeBron, I see that as, I don't know. It's interesting because I put LeBron over Giannis, but my mind flips on that constantly. Like, LeBron is a much better defender than he has been in the last 2 years, but he's not some amazing defensive player right now. When he really goes all in effort-wise, he still is, but he does that sparingly. And offensively, I mean, Luka's a better shooter. Luka's probably about the same as a playmaker, which is wild to say, but that's kind of how it is. And then Luka's amazing at getting to the basket too. I honestly might say that Luka is a little bit better of an offensive player than LeBron James. So I can't believe I'm saying that, but that might be what it is. It's easier to say now because LeBron's struggled a little bit in the bubble, but just in general, this current day LeBron James, I think Luka has a slight edge on him offensively, but LeBron is a better defender, so I'd give LeBron the overall edge. Not to mention the fact that LeBron has just such a factor to him that's like, come on, dude, that's LeBron fucking James, which I feel like is a little unfair to hold over Luka's head, but that's kind of just there, and that's not on Luka. That's just, he's LeBron fucking James. Giannis, he wins that one from defense. And I think offensively, Luka's probably a better player because, again, pretty similar efficiency, pretty similar points per game, but Luka is just this ridiculous playmaker and decision maker. Giannis, one of the main reasons he was tested against the Raptors was his actual decision making, even though he averages 6 assists per game, can be pretty shaky when he's forced to make tough decisions. Luka makes the tough decision correct 95% of the time. But Giannis is the defensive player of the year in my mind, so Luka is not on Giannis's level yet. Kawhi Leonard, offensively, Luka I think beats Kawhi just because Kawhi is not an amazing playmaker. Outside of that, just pure scoring, I'd give that edge to Kawhi Leonard. Defensively, Kawhi I think is given a little bit too much credit today because he's not the defender he was in like 2014, just because his effort on that side is not as significant as it used to be back before Kawhi Leonard was a star. All he had to do was play defense and then he'd be a pretty good offensive player. Then he became a star and offense became more and more of a priority, and as a result defense became less of a priority. So I don't even think did I have Kawhi in my all defensive team predictions? I honestly have no idea. Like, he's not going to be first team, I don't think, although he might get it just because he has that reputation. But I think Kawhi's defensive reputation has preceded how good Kawhi actually is on defense. Like, when he wants to be, yeah, Kawhi's still the best defender in the league, and it's not really a contest, but his wants to be percentage is not as high as it used to be. But give that edge to Kawhi, especially because Kawhi is like clutch as fuck, and I still believe he's the best player in the league. But based on what I'm saying, essentially, Luka is in the top 5 player conversation, and those top 5 players I believe to be very close to each other in terms of like the best player in the league conversation. Like, I think we're in a point in the NBA. Basically, it took a few players stepping up and LeBron James getting a little bit worse for this conversation to be real interesting in terms of the best player in the league. But I think based on this playoff run and where Luka is going, he's going to be in the best player in the league conversation in like by next season, honestly. Like, this guy is just fucking ridiculous, and he is exactly 1 year and 1 day older than me, so I feel like a fucking failure. Like, I was literally born the day before Luka's first birthday, and look where I am in comparison. But, you know, hopefully Luka keeps this up. I wonder how well he has to play before the first search result after his name isn't Luka Doncic mom. Like, how many 40-point triple-doubles in the playoffs does this guy have to put up before it's like Luka Doncic stats or something like that? You guys are fucking horny. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.